This is Low Vision Moments, the podcast all about those sometimes frustrating, potentially embarrassing, but usually pretty comical things that happen when you're just going about your day with a visual impairment, blindness, or albinism. I'm Jenny. I host this hot mess. This podcast. I host this thing. And a little bit about myself. I usually like to consider myself a glass half full kind of person. Don't we all love a good cliche? But I'm generally optimistic, I guess. I like to try to think that way. And I can be independent to a fault. But when you're blind or have some kind of visual impairment, it's been my thought recently, because this happened to me recently, that if you drop said half full glass and it breaks and the glass friggin' flies everywhere, when you're blind or visually impaired, do you not feel kind of screwed in that moment? Yes, there are techniques and things that you can do to clean it up safely, but I had this happen recently and I was like, well, I'm fucked until someone with good eyes can come along and do a second spot check. So my guest and I are going to discuss this. I can't wait to get their take on what I just said, and many other household chores, because this episode, I'm going to call this one Bad Housekeeping. My guest today has been what I would call a fixture. They have been with Blind Sports Nova Scotia since I joined the organization like a decade ago. We've played goalball together, and they bake a mean batch of brownies. So we've got that baking thing in common as well. John, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks. Oh, my headset's slipping. There we go.
What friggin' timing.
Perfect. It was just you were talking, I just felt it starting to slip a little bit. Bit by bit. It's I better fix it before I talk, otherwise it's going to fall off, because that's happened to me in meetings before. You just hear boom, and then it's I have to fix my headset. So
I'm really good at whacking the mouthpiece of my headset with my hand, because I talk with my hands when I have my Zoom headset on for work. But John, I want to welcome you to the podcast. What do you want the people to know about you?
I guess my name is John. I work as a software developer. I love music and, like I say, goalball. Like you and I have goalball in common, and other things I like. It's funny being a blind guy. I'm a big car racing fan, which seems kind of funny to some people, but I've been watching that for 30 years. And then, once you get into that, it's either you love it or you hate it. And I'm on the love it side for sure. So I'm into lots of different things. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
Yeah. I can't wait to get back on the goalball court, but I'm curious to know what do you think about my opening remark about if you drop a glass, what do you do? How do you feel about it? Are you like, well, I'll do what I can, and then I always need to get a second pair of eyes, working eyeballs in there.
That's what happened to me. I remember this same sort of thing happened to me once, but it was with bowls. I was doing something, I forget, I was either putting bowls away, and I dropped one. And I remember the race was over, and my mom had come over, actually, and I was trying to put one bowl away, and then I dropped a second bowl. So there was two bowls broken on the floor. So I had to go find a broom and start cleaning up. And my mom's just don't move, I'll get the broom.
But it can, just because it can fly so friggin' far.
Yeah, and then
I'll find pieces of glass months later if I don't have someone. And you know what? There's no perfect system. Even if you're sighted, fully sighted, you're going to, there's a good chance you're going to miss something that flew off in the corner.
It just literally goes into a little corner somewhere, and then you find it. And then, but if it ever happens to me, say if I'm working from home one day and, I break a glass or something, it's just well, I'll just put on, slip-on shoes for the rest of the day.
So you don't have pets. See, if you've got pets, it's I gotta
get it.
I've got to try to get this up, right?
You don't want your dog or cat getting into it, right? So
exactly. Now I have another question. And you can tell me to frig off if you don't want to answer this, but I love to sort of learn how other people live, how other people do things. How do you and your lovely wife, how do you guys divvy up the housework?
It's a lot, I think Robin and I are both pretty equal on things. There's things just doing the dishes. I like to dry them more than wash. So usually she'll wash and I'll dry. And, I'm pretty good with laundry. We can talk about that a bit. I mean, like we have these things in our dryer. They're like these little dryer balls. They're like made of yarn, and
Oh yeah, I've heard of these.
they're fairly brightly colored. So I thought, we looked them at the store one time. We thought these will probably work, because our dryer, especially you're washing goalball stuff on Sunday, like, there's something with plastic in it that's usually pretty loud, right? That you're washing.
Mm-hmm.
So these actually work out pretty well. They make stuff quieter. They kind of dampen your dryer. They bounce around. But because they're meant to be quiet, these little balls, if they ever fall out somewhere, like on the floor, it's like they're silent and they just roll somewhere. So at the end, I'm putting laundry away and I'm like, there's normally 3 balls. Why is there only one? And I'm like, well, I go back and I check the dryer. I was like, well, maybe there's one inside of there. If I'm lucky, there is. And if I'm not lucky, it's somewhere on like, our floor. So, and we have a great place here. We're really lucky because we actually have 2 sets of washers and dryers. It's really weird because
Oh my God, stop bragging. That's not a good way to make friends, John. People listening are going to be like,
but
what tax bracket is this guy in? Sorry, go ahead.
But this place before, I guess they kind of had it like an illegal rental at the time. So they had like a fridge and like just a fridge and a washer and dryer and a bathroom downstairs. And then upstairs here, where we mostly, live up here on our second floor, we have a washer and dryer in our kitchen on the other side. So it's kind of nice.
Do you use them both?
Sometimes we use the one downstairs, like when we have, because it used to be like an apartment downstairs. If
Right.
say Rob and my wife's parents, they come over, they spend a few days here. Usually they come down like maybe 2-3 times a year. They'll spend a few days, and they can stay downstairs. So when they're down here, usually they'll wash our sheets.
Okay.
They'll use our dishwasher downstairs and our stuff that we don't normally run. I should have said there's a dishwasher downstairs too. There's 2 of them. It's like crazy.
Oh my God.
But they'll run our washer. So our washer gets run downstairs maybe 2 or 3 times a year, but we mainly use the one upstairs. But
that's actually a really nice option to have for guests, right?
Yeah.
If you can. I would say that's pretty rare. But the dryer ball thing, I tried those too. They're supposed to it's supposed to be like a fabric softener, right? Like it's supposed to, right? Isn't it? Or like keep static away, that kind of
I
thing.
think it's the static. It's the static, and I think it's the noise too. And I don't think ours like do the fabric thing, but ours are just like
Okay.
they're I thought when I looked at them, I thought, hey, these are bright. I'll be able to find them if they ever fall out, and that's never the case. Because I had one last week where one was on the floor and I kicked it at one point and actually it hit my office door here. And it's like a really unfair game of pool because you can hear it hit stuff and then you don't know where it goes after that. So
Right. It's not like goalball where there's a bell in the ball.
Yeah.
That will help you track her down. I'm not as smart as you. My dryer balls, I only have 2 of them. Interestingly enough, it only came with 2. And they're gray, so they're not super easy to find. They blend in with the inside of the dryer. They blend in if they get mixed into the laundry. And then if they fall, mine are like plasticky. They're like the recycled plastic type material. They will roll for friggin' days, and it's just gone. I lost one of those balls for so long that I was like, screw it, I'm not using these anymore. And then eventually I found it. It had rolled off into a corner in the basement. But sometimes I'm just so stubborn. Like I could have asked for help tracking it down, but I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, this is too time consuming. It's too much. I'm just not using these balls anymore. And then I kind of forgot about it. And then lo and behold, you stumble upon it later on.
So stuff like that always shows up too after you're like, I've given up totally and I just went and bought a new thing, and then you have an extra one.
And I have to say, full disclosure here, I didn't realize how bad I was at housekeeping and keeping my house clean until some years after I bought a house. And I sort of gained this new mindset of, okay, I want to keep up on like I've always been good at keeping my laundry done and that kind of thing. But, I want to make sure things are dusted, and I want to make sure the floors are relatively clean, and these kinds of things. And when you own a home, there are always chores and projects and things that need to get done. But I'm more talking about like the everyday stuff. And I've come up with some tactics that kind of work. I try to like clean things on a schedule, right? So like I'll do all the dusting and the mirrors and the floors at least once a week on a weekend kind of thing. And so that helps me keep on top of these things. But there are some things that, I don't do weekly. I don't necessarily do on a super regular basis. And one of my aha moments where I realized like, I need to figure out how to get my act together with keeping my house cleaner, because this aha moment was like one day I don't know why I think I was in the washroom, like getting something out of the shower area. I think it was like a face wash or something I was getting out of the shower area. And so I'm leaning in there and I've got my glasses on, and I was like, holy Moses, when did this get so scummy and dirty and disgusting? And I had this moment where I was like, well, no wonder I'm not normally wearing my glasses, number one, when I'm in the tub or in the shower, to see that this area is getting dirty. And then even if I do have my glasses on, I've got to be like an inch away from the tile or whatever, just to like see if something has built up. So that's something I had this like aha moment where it was like, oh my God, and the other thing is like, why didn't anyone tell me? Why didn't my husband tell me that it was getting this gross? And it's just like just keep the shower door closed, the shower curtain closed, or if you have like a door type deal, just keep it closed. And if you have guests over, they'll be none the wiser. But I don't know. How do you feel like, do you guys sort of, are you like, is Robin ever like, your wife, is she ever like, hey John, like the trash is starting to overflow, it's time to take it out? Do you help each other out like that? Yeah. Or would that be annoying to you?
We have a schedule where things like, I'm usually the guy that takes out the recycling or the garbage. So I do that every week. And, I've gotten a little system now, at least, where, stuff mostly stays in the can. Although there's times I have to be careful because I only have one eye that works. My right eye works a little bit, and my left one doesn't. So I don't have any depth perception. So it's like I try and be clever. It's like, I'm just going to throw something in the laundry basket or in the garbage. And then, apparently my wife says, you don't hit on target every time you miss because no depth perception. It's like there's no way. So literally I have to be extra careful. Like if I'm putting something in the garbage, I'll try and make sure I have to like touch the garbage can and say, okay, here it's actually going in the can, because otherwise I just I'm not as sure. She was just tagging me that the other day. It's like she's like, John, when you floss sometimes you try and put it in the garbage and it doesn't go in.
I was just going to use that example. I can't even tell you. That's so funny. I was going to use that exact same example because like I've got one of these bins in my washroom and it's got a lid, but it's like one of those floppy lids, so you can just kind of push stuff in. I don't know how to explain it other than it's like one of those. It's like a flap lid where you can push stuff in.
It's like what they used to have at like the McDonald's, right? Where you have the thing and it would.
Yeah.
Do you remember you were a kid? You like press on it, you make it spin and be like.
Yes, exactly. Yes. But so often I'll be cleaning up something else down in that area. Like I'll be sweeping up the sweepings on the floor, and there's just floss hanging out of the trash can. And again, I think, I don't know what it is. Maybe I need to tell my husband, like, you need to tell me when this stuff is getting dirty. I'm not going to take it as, hey, put your apron on and get back to cleaning. I'm not going to take it like that. I'm going to take it as hey, it's maybe time to clean the tub because it's getting gross in there.
Sometimes I can tell, if you step in the tub and you're like, you can tell when it's grimy. You're like, oh, this probably
totally.
And then like you can tell when it's, when it's cleaner, because then you walk in and you almost slip and fall because it's so.
Yes. Once it's been cleaned, you have to be a little bit careful. Yeah, when it's freshly cleaned. That's another one of my tactics is like I can't really tell when shit's getting dusty, and like usually I dust on a regular basis on a bit of a schedule, but like windowsills, I don't dust my windowsills every week, right? I just don't have time for that.
That's like in the spring and fall type thing, or
yeah, but I'll touch something and I'm like, ooh, like. That's really, really dusty because I can feel it collecting, and that's one of the only ways I can tell if stuff is dusty, to be honest. So, but you mentioned depth perception. That, my friend, is something I can relate to, and when we're recording this, we haven't had snow yet, but it's coming. It's coming, and something that we share, my husband and I, is the shoveling duties. We don't have a snowblower. We just shovel because we don't have a car either, so we really just, unless we're having company that has a car, we'll just shovel a footpath. that's it. As long as we're getting our mail and we can get in and out, we're good. But for me, I don't do a great shoveling job. I want to know, do you do the shoveling?
Yep, I do, because like especially in the winter, and especially this winter, I've told work because past couple years really now since the pandemic, I've also been working from home. So it's like, we can do this. We can work from home. So I've told work, in the winter, if it's going to snow at all, I'm going to stay at home. So usually, especially this past winter where I was home all winter anyway, like my wife, she where she works, she has to pretty much be on site more than I have to be just, working sitting here basically doing programming all day. So if it snows and I hear the freezing, that's the thing I tell. So when it's snowing and I hear the freezing rain, it's like cancel all my meetings. I hear stuff hitting the window. I have to go out and shovel now because it's going to turn to rain. And then what I do is, I found the best way I do the driveway is I kind of, because here in Nova Scotia maybe it's a little bit different than say out in the prairies or something. You get snow on top of snow there maybe, but here we'll get snow and then it rains, and it maybe especially last winter, it lasts like maybe a day or two and then it would be gone. But what I do is I try to find, because I can pretty easily find the grass, so what I do is I go along each side of the driveway and I kind of just shovel a little bit so I kind of know where the borders are, and then I get down to the end and I know where the curve on the street is, because it's it's a bit different than our pavement and our driveway. And then literally after usually once I get the sides done, is then I can just go kind of push the snow one side or the other, and then I kind of know, I can see where one side and the other side is, and then it's like just a matter of just kind of getting the middle out.
Yeah. Color between the lines, or like remove the snow between the lines kind of thing. Yeah,
but it's like, by the time I get out and shovel, it's usually starting to rain or something. The best day last winter, I remember I was out shoveling and the snowblower guy was coming by. I don't know if he just saw me out shoveling, and just this one guy with just a little shovel, because we don't have a snowblower either. We kind of like to get one. You can actually get ones with batteries now. And if we get a little shed, if we'd like to get our lawn done next spring. And if we do that, we'd like to get a little shed, but you can get battery powered ones now. So like, you don't have to worry about, about putting gas in it and having it, it'll probably still break down like snowblowers do, but at least you don't have to worry about those moving parts. But yeah, sorry, what I was saying on a tangent, but I was out doing the driveway, I was doing pretty good, I thought, and I was just about to do the end, where the snowplow was coming by, and it had gone by a little bit earlier, because I don't know if your street's like this, but they go by like about 10 times during a storm, I think, just to make sure they get all the snow. So the guy comes along and he just...
They don't do my street that often.
No.
I think the part of town I live in, they're like, yeah, they can wait.
But the guy came and he kind of went in and he pushed away a lot of the snow, and I was just like, you're awesome. Normally...
Because normally they pile it.
Yeah.
It kind of piles in.
Yep.
So like I said, we just kind of shovel like enough to walk out, right? Unless we're having people over that have a vehicle, then we'll make sure that they can get their vehicle in the driveway, or actually just park out front sometimes. But whenever I shovel, because I don't have good depth perception, I like there are no straight lines in my life. I can't draw a straight line unless there's a ruler involved. There are no straight lines. I can barely walk in a straight line. Like sobriety test that needs to be different for us. But I every time I shovel, and again, I really only realized this once we got our own home and I had to start shoveling, because when you rent, the landlord comes and does it, usually pretty quickly. It looks like someone who's drunk did it. So until my neighbors got to know me, and most of them know that I'm visually impaired now, I assume that they thought some lush lived here and like tied a few on every time they came out to shovel, because it just like, it's so jagged and there are no straight lines whatsoever.
That's what I'm like with the lawn. So, and I find if I can see, because there's enough contrast between the snow and the driveway, that she helps me kind of, at least, and then I know, okay.
You mow the lawn?
Yep.
Oh man. I don't know. I'm scared of the lawnmower.
Because we have, like I was telling you with the battery, snowblowers they have now, it's the same brand that does our lawnmower. Like we bought one of those battery powered mowers when we first got our house here. I think it was 2015. And the nice thing is, well, my wife said, I got it because there's no cord, there's no, there's nothing to mess it up. You can mow the lawn.
Yeah, well, that's a really good point, because I think that's mostly what I would be scared of is the cord and all that. Because
I'd be scared of running it over. You know what? I would have totally run it over if we had a cord by now. We would have run on our 20th cord by now if it was.
I'm scared to like run over the neighborhood cat, but obviously a cat's like, they're gonna run away. Yeah. They're not gonna hang out near a running lawnmower unless it's a quiet battery powered.
She's not that quiet. I have to wear hearing protection. Basically, it's like really? I'm preparing for to be killed somehow. I've got I'm wearing hearing protection. I've got safety glasses on. If it's sunny out, I'm wearing a hat, so I don't get burnt. It's just like, I'm wearing jeans, in case something flicks up from the mower, because I can't see anything that's going on. Just, I'm just going and kind of hoping for the best. And my wife says I do about 80-90%, which she said any part of the lawn she doesn't have to do is great. So we kind of worked out like that way.
I don't know why I just thought of this, but it makes me think of like if I tried to cut my own hair. Like 90% is not fucking good enough for a haircut, but a lawn, I think that's good. I want to know, anybody in the audience, anyone listening or watching, do you mow your own lawn? Are you blind or visually impaired and mow your own lawn? I haven't quizzed it, like I haven't surveyed enough people about this, and I'm really curious. Do you know other people who mow their own lawn who are blind?
I think my friends,
and I use the term blind loosely, right? Yeah. Like it's all
I like blind. I find sometimes I try to say visually impaired, and it's like visually impaired, and then blind's just easier. And with my case, like where I have a little bit of vision and I have one eye that really doesn't work at all. It's like, you can call me blind, you can call me visually impaired. I'm not like I'm like, oh, I'm visually impaired, or I'm just call me blind. It's all right.
Yeah. And anyway, it's neither here nor there. Like blind is a spectrum. I think we need to start owning that word. I wear glasses and I still say I'm blind. It's, that's for other people to try and understand. Maybe I'll educate you one day if I feel like it. But anywho, I digress, as I often do on this podcast. I can't forget this. I need to tell you this because we were just talking about shoveling, and I remembered last winter when like pandemic stress was at an all-time friggin' high, and it was the middle of a storm, and the plows were certainly not on my street yet. They might have been on yours. I don't know. They leave my neighborhood till the very last. I'm on a cul-de-sac, so I think it's easy to forget about us. Anyway, pandemic stress was like at its height, and I think it was a thing of like, I don't know what we're going to be able to do for the holidays, if my family's going to be able to come here, the borders, blah blah blah. I don't remember what was going on, but it was pandemic stress like at its height, and it was storming. I had already shoveled our driveway, our little walkway out, and don't I continue shoveling? I shoveled the whole damn block. I shoveled the whole sidewalk. Like I just kept going because it was such good stress relief. Yep. Like it was such a good distraction, and all I could think was, I wear like fit over sunglasses. They're like these big old sunglasses that fit over my regular glasses, and they're kind of, The stereotype is like older males, like older people would wear them, but that's not true. I've been wearing them for a long time. So as I'm shoveling like the whole street, I'm wondering, are there neighbors looking out their window and thinking, does that blind neighbor of ours, does she know that she's shoveling in front of our house? Like, does she know she's shoveling our walkway, like the sidewalk in front of our place? And then I just imagine someone else telling him, no, don't tell her. Just let her
do her thing.
Just let her do it. Yeah, just let her do it. Then no one else has to do it.
Because I know now they're supposed to come and do the sidewalks, right? But it depends, right? Usually that takes a day or two. I know we don't
you can't rely on that.
Yeah, we don't actually have any sidewalks on our street here, but it's pretty wide. So, I mean, it's pretty good to get around, but we don't have to worry about the sidewalk at least.
Is there anything else you wanted to chat about before we go, John?
I'm trying to think. I don't know. We were talking yesterday. You know, if you can get post-production. I love sound effects, so get your guy to throw in some random sound effects. Maybe for some of our low vision moments. You know the sad trombone, the
Okay,
we should totally do that because I used to love that. They don't do that in radio anymore. They used to, when you're a kid, you'd hear the radio people and they'd be goofy and they'd be like, "It's going to rain a lot today," and they'd have the toilet flush sound effect. It's like, why do people not do that anymore?
I do know exactly what you mean, and let me tell you, we are not above funny sound effects.
Oh, I've got some. I've got a box here. Just a minute.
Let's do it. Let's see what you got.
So, this is the one. Yeah, so this is the one here. If I hold it up like this, can you see it's like
I can. It's like a little red box.
Little red box, and this is like $10 at like Mastermind Toys. And the other day, it was like a few months ago. Actually, it was probably in the spring because we were getting like a present for our 4-year-old niece, and we were at the store, and my wife walked by this, and she's like, "John, it's for 3 and up. Do you want this?" And I was like, "Yes."
That's an open age range.
Yes, I do. So it was Easter, and we had these out. This is like the one they liked the most. There we go. Can you hear that? Someone screaming.
Like
I don't know. Do I need to be closer?
Blood-curdling scream. Oh no, I think that sounds good. I could hear that.
But for like the size of this thing, it's like it's very loud.
Thank you so much, John, for chatting and making me laugh.
It's a banner day for this podcast.
Thank you so much for tuning in, for listening and watching. I had no idea we could have so much fun talking about housekeeping and chores, but here we are, and that was a lot of fun. Have you got any feedback or suggestions for the podcast? I would love to hear from you. Send an email to podcasts@ami.ca or leave a voicemail at 1-866-509-4545. One more time, that phone number is 1-866-509-4545. Just make sure to mention low vision moments in the message, please and thanks. Come and follow me on Instagram. I'm there under Uberblonde4. That is UBERBLONDE and the number 4. Mark Aflalo is our technical producer who does a great job at cleaning up after me. Thank you so much. And thanks to manager at AMI Audio, Andy Frank. He seems like a pretty tidy dude, if I do say so myself. Until next time, remember, it's only human to have toothpaste stains on your mirror. Hear me out. You're not human unless you have some toothpaste stains on your mirror every once in a while.